you know, whatever. But nobody's saying that. You can't have both ways.
Right.
You can't say it's about rebellion. Then who the fuck worships criminals? Then why we don't have none of statues of crack dealers? Like if we put up a statue of the biggest pimp, you know what I mean? You know, and named a school after it, people would be, whoa, look at them. They honoring crack dealers and pimps.
Yep.
You feel me? But I will say, the one that kind of hit me, that I kind of was like, ah, a little bit, was the Dukes of Hazzard. The General Lee.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I got that show. And if that's what it's all about, cool. But
yeah, I'll be fine with that.
But then the question is, could you do the General Lee? Could you do the Dukes of Hazzard? And the Dukes of Hazzard were the Williams boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not the Dukes, but the Williams boys. Two little black boys that and I don't remember if there were any in the show.
I don't recall any.
I don't recall. But if they were, we know. Come on. You know, and they zooming past the cops and they doing all this and they doing all that. Come on, yo.
I know.
I'm not saying that there weren't any black moonshiners and bootleggers and stuff like that. I'm just saying if they were, then they were outlaws. They weren't the good old boys.
No, they were not the good old boys.
You know what I'm saying? Talking about they couldn't change if they could. Yeah, because they were niggas.
Exactly.
Making their way the only way they know how, they would have been hunted down by the good old boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, cut that out. So yeah, so this package that I have, have you heard about like, you know, NASCAR has decided they're going to, you know, ban the Confederate flag.
Yes.
And you know, other places are banning the Confederate flag. The military is banning the Confederate flag.
Yep.
Things like Confederate statues, Confederate statues and stuff like that are being torn down.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, and people kind of like have beef with that, and you know, they want to change the name of the bases.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, but
we have one here. It can happen. It might not happen now, but it can happen. I mean, there's an election in a few months, and that can definitely decide.
That would definitely be,
you know,
a historical event.
And like we have a base here, you know, Fort Bragg, and you know, I've read up on him, and he wasn't all that an awesome dude. I mean,
really?
He was a general for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And he was involved with a lot of battles, and he killed a lot of Indians, a lot of Mexicans. You know, he's part of a lot of things where, you know, Native Americans were being moved, relocated, and the whole slave situation where I believe Spain owned Florida at the time, or West Florida, and it was like if the slaves made it there, they were free.
Right.
And, you know, they were willing to go to war with them and go to war with the Indians, because the Indians were allowed, look, I'm paraphrasing, I might even be wrong, but I think they were kind of like providing safe haven, you know what I'm saying? To the point where a term Black Samoan, not Samoan, Black Seminole?
Semeo?
It's an Indian tribe, SOM. Anyway, while you're looking that up, basically they were the black whatever this tribe was. So and it got to the point where
Sommelier?
So yeah, I think we're pronouncing it that way. I think it's pronounced that way, but I don't really. I thought it was Samoan. I can't get like Samoan out of my head, you know. And I know it's not that. It's like Seminole. So SE. It got an OLE in it, right?
This is spelled with 2 M's.
No, I don't think that's it. Oh man.
But go ahead.
I suck. But long story short, he was a general that went to war with a lot of Native Americans and went to war over slavery. You know what I'm saying? With the Native Americans, with whomever, the government was like, look, and he worked for the actual supposed president of the Confederacy. So, and we're getting to the whole thing like that. But how do you feel about like the flag coming down off of things and things being like taken out of the the social lexicon?
You
if you
know,
would say.
sometimes growing up, you don't pay it too much mind. Being up north, you don't see the Confederate flag that often. I didn't see it that often until I moved down south.
Yeah.
And because it's not part of my culture or the American culture that I experienced up north, I also didn't know what the complete meaning behind it was. You hear, there's certain people that they explain their meaning, and I think it's more personal to them. And then I read up on the depth of it. And I think as a symbol, I think there's, knowing what I know now, I think there's a lot of negativity attached to it. And we shouldn't be throwing that up in the face. That's not a representation of a good representation of us. The statues also, I mean, the fact that they went up, I get it. They wanted to put some generals in there that made some news and were involved in some big deals. But I mean, we had others.
Well,
that,
we're gonna address that in this clip, actually, that's coming up. So,
yeah, those statues have been up for so long. I can't believe it's taken this long to take them down or have an action.
well, the
have
question
them
is,
removed.
is why did the statues go up? You know what I'm saying? And most people probably think, yeah, because they were generals. Why not put a statue up of a general?
Right.
Yeah, and they were. We don't have any statues of generals that attacked us in Pearl Harbor. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't have a statue of General Yakamochi. You know what I'm saying?
No, we
Whatever
don't.
his name was, Nikanakchu or whatever. Yeah. So
That guy.
yeah, exactly, that guy. So
Ikiniachua.
yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, why not? You know what I'm saying? We don't have, any, statues up for, Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and
Hitler.
yeah, and the people who were in Vietnam we were fighting, you know what I'm saying? Like we just don't. We don't have statues for
Right.
people we fight, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but I will say the one that kind of hit me that I kind of was like, ah, a little bit was the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
The General Lee.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I got that show. And if that's what it's all about, cool. But
Yeah, I'll be fine with that.
But then the question is, could you do the General Lee? Could you do the Dukes of Hazzard? And the Dukes of Hazzard were the Williams boys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not the Dukes, but the Williams boys. Two little black boys that and I don't remember if there were any in the show.
I don't recall any.
I don't recall, but if they were, we know. Come on, and they zooming past the cops, and they doing all this and they doing all that. Come on, yo.
I know.
I'm not saying that there weren't any black moonshiners and bootleggers and stuff like that. I'm just saying if they were, then they were outlaws. They weren't the good old boys.
No, they were not the good old
You know
boys.
what I'm saying? Talking about they couldn't change if they could, yeah, because they were niggas.
Exactly.
Making their way the only way they know how, they would have been hunted down by the good old boys. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, cut that out. So, in a way, I can't be like, yeah, take the flag off the battleship, but keep the General Lee flown around. It's called the General Lee. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the General Lee was an outlaw. So if we're going to start looking at him as an outlaw, then cool. Then people can kind of make their own decisions. Although I still, whatever. But But nobody's saying that. You can't have both ways.
Right.
You can't say it's about rebellion. Then who the fuck worships criminals? Then why we don't have none of statues of crack dealers? You feel me?
They do wrong.
Like if we put up a statue of the biggest pimp, you know what I mean? You know, and name the school after it, people will be, whoa, look at them. They honoring crack dealers and pimps.
Yep.
You feel me? Like it's about rebellion and being an outlaw. And all. Well, you're not an outlaw.
Right.
You go to work. You got a 9 to 5. Cut it out.
Hey, when that shit touch, man, I just do the running man.
What up, folks? It's your boy TMC here. Just wanted to give another PSA about budget. You have a budget. I have a budget. Hell, freaking dog catcher has a budget. We all have budgets. Key is working within those things, and sometimes being able to make more out of a little less. You're just now starting out as an artist. Maybe you have a project in which you don't have a big budget for, or maybe you just want to do some behind the scenes stuff. Well, that's where we come in.
Glock 19, you don't want it, man. Gotta send a little 80 where you want it.
Guys, thanks for watching. And to see more T4J content, please visit TMC4JMC.com.
And don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe down below.
That's what's up. Peace. Cool. What up? We're back. Oh, look at that. I should have did a little fade down, but whatever. Actually,
cool.
It worked out a little better because I got to fade back and not be all like this. I got to be like that.
Yeah, true.
For what it's worth. You all right?
Yeah, I got an edge in the back of my shoulder just all of a sudden.
Oh, man. So, yeah, this episode's a little, going to be a little jumbled, a little cut up. We've been having audio issues and recording issues and take issues and all kinds of things. But, you know, we're keeping with it. 110. I guess you can't have 10 episodes and the 10th one not be awesome.
No, of course.
I'm sure there's people out there who have been awesome, but great to you.
Brava.
Big ups to you. So where we were at, we were going into just the whole thing about the Confederate flag and just the division that we got going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, the whole we are outlaws and, you know, what the Confederate flag means. Are we, is it heritage? Is it hate? Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have a little bit of a package that kind of covers all that. You know, where we left off, we were talking about how they're taking it down from places. You know, they're taking it off of, they're considering taking it off the bases.
Yes.
Consider taking it off of NASCAR banned it.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
And how, you know, that sucks a little bit, just a little bit. But that played into how, okay, I got the Dukes of Hazzard. I got what it was. They were bad guys. That basically was a show where we celebrated the bad guys.
Yeah, it really was.
That
the ones that made trouble.
Yeah, the ones that made trouble. And in the end, you have to assume that there's no way in hell they stayed in Hazard County and they're still alive today doing what they were doing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
which is what?
Like, they wouldn't get away from the cops today.
Hell no.
Like that.
Hell no. I mean.
And today they would be meth dealers.
Yeah.
The Dukes of Hazzard would be Breaking Bad.
Yeah. I mean, the only good thing is I guess they didn't have any shooting around and things like that. It was really just driving away.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, the cops had guns, but they never, I don't remember them really pulling it.
Nah.
And, you know.
It was more about the car chases.
Which is even a different situation. Like, they got guns, they're not shooting them.
They're also not coming, but they all know where they live.
They get exactly. They get to slide over the hood.
Like, it's all, they got away. It's okay. And then the next day they see him at the diner and it's like.
Daisy Duke drove in a freaking Wrangler.
Yeah, exactly.
No doors, no nothing.
Like, come on. It was so unrealistic.
So I got it. Outlaws. You know what I'm saying? No different than New Jack City. No different than Bonnie and Clyde. How everybody like to say, "Hey, we're Bonnie and Clyde." You know what I'm saying? And that's cool. But we also respect Bonnie and Clyde for what they were. You know what I'm saying? You get the ride or die, but you also get the fact that they were outlaws. They were criminals. So, so let's just start this package real quick and just see. He goes into a lot. He makes a lot of cool points, and I'm gonna let him do the talking again.
Another way, they could have written this, and
All right, let's back up.
The move comes after pressure from race car driver and man with the most NASCAR name ever, Bubba Wallace.
No kidding.
Wallace is NASCAR's only black driver. You can always tell which is his car because it's the one getting pulled over. All right, Mr. Wallace, what are you doing in this neighborhood? All right, you can go. Earlier today, Wallace explained his opposition to the Confederate flag.
To a group that is in a lot of pain right now, the African American community is in a lot of pain. That's a symbol of hate, and it brings back so many bad memories, signs of oppression from way back when, and there's no good that comes with that flag.
He's right. No good.
He doesn't look like a Bubba.
In fact, it's such an unlucky flag that even the people who started it had to eventually replace it with this one.
And no, he doesn't. I guess he
Like if he came up to you and said, "Hey, how you doing? My name is Bubba." I would have really?
I would think that it's short for something else, or it's just a nickname. I don't know if Bubba is short for anything. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
I guess he looks like a NASCAR driver. I don't really know. But I guess if you're going to be Bubba, NASCAR driving is the way to go.
Yeah. I mean, perfect.
But he's right. The only Confederate flag that makes any sense is the surrender flag. The flag that everybody's showing right now, and frankly, I don't think that's the battle flag. And just a little bit of backstory on all that. Frankly, I don't think that's the stars and bars. The stars and bars it was basically a flag that kind of symboled the American flag.
Right.
Same with the square and the stars in it, and then it had bars.
Right.
Whereas we called the American flag was the stars and stripes.
Yes.
They created the stars and bars. But the problem was that flag was getting them killed in fucking battle because it looked too much like the Union flag, the American flag.
Right.
So these idiots basically, had to create, a different flag. And what was happening is each company, battalion, whatever, each unit, they were creating their own. So, you know what I'm saying? So it was like several out there. They all kind of fit, but there was like several out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there wasn't even any unity in that. So as far as all this heritage stuff, there just wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the flag of the nation,
right?
Who was saying that they were separating for whatever reasons. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was the flag of the aggression,
right? Of
these states.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't the olive branch. It was it was just that, and it's already been decided. It's Civil War, if it decided anything, it decided that states can't succeed. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't wake up one day and be like, you know what, fuck this. I ain't trying to be part of, my house is not going to be part of America anymore. No, America's going to come. They're going to go to war with you.
That's right.
And unless you can win,
that's right,
your ass is going to still be American territory.
Exactly.
And that's going to happen anytime. If Texas was talking that shit, we're going to succeed. No. There's nothing even where Congress can say, okay, it's okay for you guys to succeed. Mm-hmm. No, America has to fight.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Did you see that on that episode of Family Guy where Peter had Petopia?
I don't remember it.
It was just his house. He was not part of the United States.
I don't remember
it. It was kind of like the same thing.
Did they go to war with him?
I think they were getting ready to go to war with
Oh,
him. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and not to mention, he was surrounded by borders.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
he couldn't leave his front door.
Nope.
So that's what I'm saying. So it's the sign of aggression. It wasn't the whatever they were trying to say positive. That flag was different. It was something else. So that's something that's the reason why when they start talking that shit, it's like, you have to tell me, what is this heritage? What is this stuff you're talking about?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Was it if it wasn't about, okay, let's take slavery out and put it to the side, what was it? What did the South stand for other than we want to live the way we want to live?
Exactly.
Was that it? The pursuit of liberty?
Right.
Okay. Well, you were only given the pursuit of liberty through the Constitution. You feel me?
Exactly.
The American Constitution. So if it wasn't for the American Constitution, you wouldn't have the pursuit of liberty. You wouldn't have the ability to pursue liberty.
Mm-hmm.
So you just can't wake up one day and be like, yeah, I want to pursue liberty, but in another way. But I want to take the land as yours and claim it for myself and do what I want to do on it.
Yep.
And no, the pursuit of
Doesn't
liberty
work.
doesn't include that rather. I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Excuse me. No, continue, please.
Now, Wallace puts NASCAR's got company because the U.S. Army recently announced that it is open to considering the removal of Confederate leaders' names from U.S. military bases. Well, that's reasonable, considering those men waged war on the U.S. military.
Exactly.
It's one of the reasons
It's
the
taken
Navy
so
renamed.
long to happen.
Well, one, I mean, I don't know. I don't know when was the push to have them removed. Like, nobody's just going to do something because, matter of fact, up until this year, was it a good idea? A good idea for whom? You know what I'm saying? People that serve at Fort Bragg probably feel pretty good about, hey, I served at Fort Bragg. You know what I'm saying? They might not even thought twice about it of what it was all about. Probably didn't even think twice about anything, associate anything with anything other than the fact that I'm in the U.S. military, serving my country, and I happen to be stationed at Fort Bragg, which has, a lot of acclaim. I mean, good has come out of Fort Bragg.
Oh, sure.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, why? Why was it named Fort Bragg? What was the point of all that? And then when? You know what I'm saying? Do you think it was built as Fort Bragg? No.
No, hell
built
no.
as Fort Bragg. It was built as, I don't know what the fuck it was built. Or even if it was built as Fort Bragg, it wouldn't have been Fort Bragg back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been something else. It would have been decommissioned. It would have been something along those lines.
To the USS Saddam Hussein. Now, these bases weren't named right after the Civil War. Back then, people knew these men were traitors to the Union. The bases got their names after all the Civil War veterans were dead at the height of Jim Crow. So this sounds like a slam dunk. I mean, only someone completely tone deaf to the continuing pain of black Americans who make up 20% of the U.S. Army would disagree. It has been suggested that we should rename as many as 10 of our legendary military bases, such as Fort Bragg in North Carolina, Fort Hood in Texas, Fort Benning in Georgia, etc. These monumental and very powerful bases have become part of a great American heritage and a history of winning victory and freedom. First, they didn't fight for freedom. Second, winning and victory are the same thing. And the Confederacy didn't do either of them.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's exactly the point. They don't have a history of anything. They don't have a history of winning. They don't have a history of freedom. They don't have you. If you're fighting for freedom and you don't win, then you didn't achieve the freedom. So it's and that's what we're talking about here. It's what's up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He, like how he pointed out, when these people died when they were in they were many of them were humiliated after the Civil War. Bragg, as I said before, he died just dropped dead one day, a nobody, nothing. You know what I'm
Nothing,
saying?
yeah.
Now he has a base after
Yep.
him. You know what I'm saying? His family get to feel all good about that, I guess, his descendants, but for the most part, he was a nobody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's the whole point of it all. It's like the era in which these things came out was an era in which, so you have to keep in mind that after the Civil War, it's not like the North was like, hey, this is how you guys gonna live. You know what I'm saying? And we got our eye on you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, it was just slavery is abolished.
Done. Mm-hmm.
Go back home and figure it out.
Yep. Figure it out.
So when these people were coming back, there was a time where this stuff started becoming romanticized.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the fight. You know what I'm saying? Where, for example, there's a story. They kind of call it the lost cause. And just to get to it a little bit, when they talk about history and heritage, and what people got to understand is history and memory are not the same thing. History is fact check. History is based on the collective, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
account. Memory is what you fantasize, what you feel,
Right.
maybe what you've
particular.
experienced, but you can also add in some extra shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Heritage is something that you want to own. My heritage. Well, technically, you don't necessarily own history. You know what I'm saying? You lived it, but history is owned to time. We
It's
all own time.
right.
History.
We're all in it.
Heritage, you can have that shit. Because sometimes we don't even fucking want it, and some of it is some shit that you made up.
Yep.
That's why nobody would say I got a bad heritage, even if you was raised by barbarians and shit. You would be like, well, barbarian heritage is bad.
Yeah.
No, you love it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you were a Viking, you love it.
Exactly. Whatever you were a raider. You know what I'm saying? If Fallout happened and you were down with the mutant clan, you would be like, yo, mutant heritage, way to go. You know what I'm saying? You probably still carry the same Confederate flag.
Stop.
But basically what kind of evolved was this thing called like the lost cause.
Right.
And what it did was it romanticized the South version of the Civil War. They even wrote books
Yeah.
that the Northerners read,
Yes.
which romanticized Southern life. They made it seem like in the books that plantation life was awesome. For everybody.
Yep.
For the owners, they were loving plantation owners. Sometimes they fell in love
Yep.
with their slaves, and the slaves
And the slaves were just happy to be there and
grateful
just-
and
yeah.
yeah, exactly.
They were friends with their slave owners. And
Even the show, The North and South, wasn't Patrick Swayze in that?
I think so.
Yeah, I used to.
Oh man, I totally forgot
It
about
was
that
like
show.
a documentary or something like that. Yeah, even the North and South romanticized the whole Civil War and all that.
Yeah.
bullshit. Don't get me wrong, man. There were families that fought.
Yeah, it was Patrick Swayze. I
There were
love
people
it.
that fought for the North and the South. So if you were a soldier, then you can fall into that romance bullshit.
Yeah.
But the people you were fighting for, they knew exactly why they were sending you to go die. And that generally is the case. It's generally the case that the person you're fighting for knows why you're going to go die. They know exactly why they're sending you there.
Absolutely. That's where they're
And-
sending you.
Exactly. A lot of people that were fighting the Civil War didn't own slaves. They couldn't afford to own slaves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
were expensive.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you saw the poster, $1,200 for a slave.
Yeah.
$1,200 a lot now. Much less back then.
Imagine.
You know what I'm saying? So either way, so it's not like, yeah, everybody had slaves, everybody had a nice life because slaves existed. No. That was what they romanticized. So, and then there's a story where, okay, it's like at the end of the war, and Robert E. Lee, he's talking to his troops. He's telling them, You weren't beat by a superior enemy. You were just beat because they had more bullets and more weapons, and there
Yeah.
was more of them. Generally, you was beat by a superior army.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why we say we're the best army in the world, because,
Yep.
we got all the shit. Every now and then you might lose a battle or two, but, wars, not so much. I don't think we're going to lose too many nowadays. So the story gets back to, I guess, the South, and, I guess it now becomes a story of sacrifice. Mm-hmm. It was
And heroism.
yeah, heroism. It was more or less they were fighting for their home.
Right.
It was called the Northern Aggression.
Right.
If you're in the South, it's called the Northern Aggression. The Northern occupation, the Northern infiltration.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No, it wasn't. You guys wasn't your own country. You just can't fucking say we're
Exactly.
our own country.
Can't declare yourself.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. Just like no way where you got a house and your daughter could be like, my room is no longer part of this house. Mm-hmm. You're gonna laugh. At her.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
If not, kick down the door. It's not Northern aggression. You were being
Shit.
aggressive by claiming land that
Right.
didn't belong to you, claiming lives that didn't belong to you.
You're stealing.
Yeah, so they started passing along this bullshit, and decades and decades, that's what kind of happened. Like, General Lee became this cult figure, you know what I'm saying? This messiah to the South.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And he's, going on to, he's painted like this good old Christian man that, you know what I'm saying, was a man of faith and doing what his God and his heart tells him to do. And it had nothing to do with slaves. It was home.
It was home.
It was home and way of life. They wanted to take away our home. I don't remember anything. I haven't seen shit where it said the Union said, hey guys, we want to go to war with you guys because we want to move you guys to Mexico.
Yeah.
Never. And after the war, nobody got moved to Mexico as far as I know.
No.
Otherwise, there would be
another war.
We wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
There would be everybody be talking like New Jersey up here.
Okay.
But it'd the North. You know what I'm saying? Like no, the war happened. People who were still alive went back home.
Yep.
So even that bullshit about my home. No, that was just a rewrite of history. Why? So that you can romanticize
Yeah.
everything. And if it was such a beautiful life, then why was the civil rights era right after that, where people of color were just dogged? If everything was so romantic, you know what I'm saying? Then why in the streets people being dogged and lynched and all that?
Yep.
You feel me? Under the battle flag.
It's a damn thing. Like, come on.
So, it's one of those things that don't make any sense.
You'd know that if you weren't stupid and an idiot.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, sir. You were dog whistling? My administration will not even consider the renaming of these magnificent and fabled military installations.
Keyword fabled. Look up the word fable. Fable.
I can tell you now it means like fairy tale.
Yeah, something
real.
along those lines. Something along those lines. It's a story passed down. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with accuracy.
It's a short story, typically with animals as characters conveying a morale.
I would have never thought that would be the definition. It has to be like one of those things where they got multiple definitions.
Nope, that's it.
Oh.
That's it. Dictionary.com says it's it.
Oh, okay. I'll take that back then.
It's a kind of a strange definition. I didn't think it was typically with animals as characters. But now that I think about it, yeah, I guess most fables have like gnomes and things like that.
Yeah. Or the verb is a fictitious tale. So, and then there are a few. Or it's a false statement of belief. or it's a story, typically a supernatural one, incorporating elements of myth and legend, which is basically what we've been going at here. This general, the South, the flag, is all based around myths and legends and some supernatural shit. We won even though we lost. In the South, losing is winning.
Yeah.
Slavery is freedom.
Yeah, so we might as well let's just lie about what
I guess
happened.
It's not surprising.
Just
that
make it
Trump's
all
okay
up.
with
Make up
naming
new
things
stories
after
to
old
replace it.
racist guys. He did name his own son Donald Trump. Now, yesterday, Trump got a little air cover from White House press secretary and cursed Bratz doll Kayleigh McEnany.
The president will not be signing legislation
It's
that
the
renames
eyes.
America's forts. It's important to note, Fort Bragg, for example, it's one of the largest military installations. It's home to tens of thousands of brave American soldiers.
It'll still be home to
And
them.
When you think of
Just with
Fort
a different
Bragg,
name.
we think of the brave soldiers that deployed from there.
Yeah, you can't rename Fort Bragg. That's Trump's favorite verb. Next, you'd have to rename Fort Lie and Fort Cheat on Your Wife.
Oh, why not? Why not replace it? Why not rename them? What's the big deal? We rename airports all the time.
I don't know why. Look, as far as like, they're going to be the soldiers that come out of the thing, and okay.
Yeah, so what?
So what? So what? What soldiers are we talking about?
Well, yeah, because right now, I mean, it's
What soldiers?
a lie. The name is a lie.
What soldiers are we talking about? I know some soldiers there that are stationed at Fort Bragg right now that the only way they would have been stationed at Fort Bragg under General Bragg is if they were fighting for and slaves didn't fight for freedom.
No.
Slaves fought because it was they was either made to, or two, it was the only way to get out of the situation that
They
they were
were
in.
in. Yep.
Or three, they figured, okay, I'll fight a little bit and maybe I can get on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. That's what it was about.
So the only way people of my color would have been fighting for General Bragg would have been they would have been forced to,
Yep.
or they'd have been killing Indians.
Which I could have easily seen happen.
So yeah, it's that situation. It's once again, it's this heritage stuff, all this crap that they were talking about. It just doesn't make any sense. And not for nothing, but women were some of the biggest culprits in all this.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like during the Jim Crow era and right after the Civil War, there were a lot of like they were the daughters of the Confederate veterans and things like that were kind of like instrumental in romanticizing this.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Even now,
So they had a hand in changing.
who doesn't want to see, some Dixie chick and, fucking,
Yeah.
with the shit all over her boobs. You know what I'm saying? Some cowboy boots, I guess,
This shit all on her boobs.
But that's what I'm saying. It is like, but once again, they were outlaws. You know what I'm saying? It's all about being an outlaw. It's all about being a traitor, a treasonous.
Oh. Oh, yeah. They're the ones that funded the memorials for a lot of these.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's, they were the
Wow.
ones that, showed up big for a lot of these statues, a lot of these things. And just in general, like, in some ways, white women got Trump elected. Let me leave that there.
No lie.
But, hey, enough.
But I can see, it's just as bad as hiding the actual truth of these wars, and making up other stories in its place. It's almost like, how Germany doesn't teach about World War II, doesn't even get mentioned.
Oh, no?
No, in their history books over there,
I didn't know that.
no, they do not mention World War II at
didn't-
all.
I didn't think they would. Nobody hears about Vietnam. What the fuck did we learn about Vietnam in school?
Nothing really, nothing unless it came out in a movie. I think.
Zip, zip, zero.
Yep.
Zip, zip, zero.
Yeah.
And okay, that's cool. That's cool. But that goes into this. Why do we learn about the South losing and make it and it's painted to be so beautiful? No, they lost. They were fucking outlaws. This flag stands for being an outlaw.
Yeah.
And when the state, going back to what we were talking about boycotting and protesting, if a company wants to fly this flag, I could boycott that company. I could sever ties with that company.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I could, that's your tree, that's your flag where you want to sever ties, then great. Ties severed.
Mm-hmm.
But if the state is flying that flag, then all I got is the protest. You know what I'm saying? The black people couldn't say, hey, you know what? Well, here's what we gonna do. We gonna take our little land and we're gonna create another fucking country.
Yeah.
So now there's gonna be 3 countries in America. No, they would have burnt that shit down, which is what they did.
Yep.
And under the banner of that flag, it said, no, you guys are American and you're Southern and you're in the South.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, no, it wasn't no separate place. You guys were left to your own devices, and that was wrong. And now it's time to give it up. You know,
Yep.
You had a good run, but now it's time to give it up.
You gotta let it go.
It's time to give it up. Otherwise, like I said, nobody's posting up statues of Nino Brown. Nobody's posting up statues of crack dealers, and pimps, and rapists, and all those things. American Psycho was a dope movie.
But we didn't glorify. Yeah.
I don't need to see a statue of that guy.
Yeah.
Or Jason Voorhees or anything like that. Like we don't do statues like that. We don't do Kim Jong-un and all that shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, we're not that kind.
yeah, the losers don't get statues. Secessionists don't get statues. Secessionists don't get a history. They don't get to have a great story. You know?
These ones did for a long time.
Well, and now it's time to bust some bubbles. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry to bust some bubbles. There was one guy bitching about NASCAR and the flag being taken out. He was like, what's the problem? And there's some that love to say, well, I don't even care about the flag, but some people should be able to fly whatever flag they want. But those same people would be the same ones that be like, yeah, but your ass better not kneel during the national anthem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, hold up, you don't care about this flag, they be able to fly what they want, but they better respect that flag. So ultimately, you still want to tell them what to fucking do.
Right. You still want to be the boss.
You
of them.
still want to be the boss, and that's what that flag represents. Dumbasses wanting to be the boss,
Right.
and they aren't entitled to being the boss. They represent the old way when any asshole could feel like a boss.
Yeah.
Whereas now you have to earn the right to feel like a boss. You could be an Instagram boss if you want to talk about it, but if you want to be a boss in the real world, you gotta earn it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're saying. It's like, once again, it's those people were criminals, and that flag was done with a lot of crime. Even if the state didn't say it wasn't a crime, it still was a crime.
It was built out of hate.
You can't. Well, it ain't a crime to hate a motherfucker. It's not a crime to hate somebody. You can go back to the free speech shit. You can hate anybody you want. Last episode we talked about it. We dislike our president. You know what I mean? Hate
Very much so.
Hate's a strong word, but fuck it. If you want to throw it in there, I wouldn't argue against you. But you know what I'm saying? It just isn't the word I would use. You know.
I'd use it.
So, but there was a lot of fucking crimes. When you kill a motherfucker, when you lynch a motherfucker, when you don't give a motherfucker their due process, that's a crime.
That is a crime.
That's a crime. You're not supposed to. Who did that to you? Who did? Somebody just stepped on my foot. Who stepped on your foot, lady? It was that nigger. Oh, we gonna go get a rope and a shotgun. No, that's a crime. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And just because there wasn't somebody there to prosecute it, to charge you people, to go to jail,
Right.
to whatever, didn't mean that the crime didn't happen. Just mean they got off scot-free. They got away scot-free. No different than if we robbed the bank and we got away, like in the movies. You know what I
It's
mean?
funny how that's coming around now.
And now it's time for all you motherfuckers to realize that, no, those were crimes then,
And it's still crime.
and they're crimes now.
Yeah.
And now, motherfuckers are going to be held accountable for it.
Mm-hmm.
Bottom line. It won't, back in the day, back in the day you were committing crimes.
Yeah.
Back in the days you were assholes. Back in the days you should have been killed.
We're not back in the day no more.
So, so that's that. Thanks for watching. And to see more T4J content, please visit TMC4JMC.com. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff because we appreciate your support. All right? Peace.